The manga kicks off with Endo Awaru, our main guy, aiming his gun at someone. Without a second thought, he fires and the man drops to the ground, lifeless. As Endo walks away from the body, he casually makes a call, asking for a cleanup crew. Not long after, a team shows up, all suited up with masks, stepping over the mess of bodies in the room, while Endo keeps walking out. He is the top hitman in the massive underworld organization, the Fujiyama Group. He's got a reputation for being super precise and efficient, almost like a machine. People call him the killing machine because he's all business, no hesitation, no emotion, just gets the job done. His very presence is enough to scare off trouble, and nobody really knows anything about him beyond his name. His personal life is a total mystery. Two of the cleanup guys start chatting. One of them admits he's curious about what Endo's life is like when he's not working, saying he's a bit of a fan. The other guy tells him to give it a rest, warning that he might not like what he finds out. But the fan is totally convinced that nothing could ever ruin his admiration for Endo. The scene then flips to show Endo in a completely different setting, sitting in the middle of a crowd, still looking as serious as ever while watching some girls dancing on stage. One of the girls smiles and flashes a peace sign at him, and Endo awkwardly returns the gesture, his face still deadpan. The concert ends and Endo heads to the stage to compliment the lead performer, Karen. She lights up, thanking him and saying his support helps her perform better. Endo feels a bit overwhelmed by her bright and cheerful energy, and he blurts out that he'd do anything for her. When Karen jokes about him shaking her hand, he immediately says no, looking down at his hands and muttering about them being too dirty to touch someone like her. He begins to walk away as Karen calls after him, suggesting he could just wash his hands. Endo keeps going, as the bodyguard says that his time's up. Inside, he reflects on how much Karen means to him, how she's brought light into his once dark life. Even if he can't shake her hand, being her fan is enough. Since meeting her, every day has felt more vibrant, more alive. Back on the job, he keeps doing what he does best, taking people down with zero hesitation and making sure everything is cleaned up. After another hit, he stands by the body, his mind drifting back to Karen. He wonders if someone like him even deserves to be her fan. Out of nowhere, he hears the body whispering for help, which freaks him out. His team reassures him that the guy is definitely dead, but Endo still looks shaken. He stares down at the dead man, feeling a pang of regret as he realizes he's just destroyed a whole life, a family. He imagines Karen looking at him, calling him a murderer. Shaken by these thoughts, he decides he can't keep showing up at her concerts, thinking he's just not good enough to be around her. Later, he meets Karen again and, looking serious, tells her he won't be coming back. She looks hurt and quickly pulls a small packet out of her pocket, offering it to him with a hopeful smile, telling him all he needs to do is wash his hands. Endo is caught off guard, standing there stunned while his manager tries to hurry him along. But he stays put, holding the packet, completely lost in his thoughts. The scene jumps to somewhere in Tokyo, inside the Fujiyama Tower on the 72nd floor, a fancy exclusive spot of the Fujiyama Group. Fujiyama Hideyoshi, the group's first leader, sits on a couch in the support room, looking serious. Endo sits across from him, nodding as he says he wants to quit being a hitman. Hideyoshi is stunned, asking what could have changed a man like Endo, someone who kills like a machine without any second thoughts. Hideyoshi guesses it might be a woman, but Endo surprises him even more by saying it's an idol. Endo's confession takes aback Fujiyama and the other man, and Fujiyama doesn't believe it at first, thinking Endo must be joking. When he insists that it's Karen, his favorite idol from Rosase, Hideyoshi coldly dismisses him. He finds the idea that the emotionless killing machine has become so human absurd. Without any further discussion, he fires Endo on the spot, declaring he has no use for someone like him anymore. As Endo tries to speak, Hideyoshi cuts him off, mocking him to get lost and go support his idol. He stands up and bows in front of Fujiyama, accepting his fate. The scene shifts to Karen, excitedly sharing that she has landed her first solo concert. It might be small, but they're planning to rent out the entire venue. Her father, Prime Minister Minabishi, listens quietly, congratulating her while advising her manager, Marita, to take care of Cory. Marita agrees, but she isn't thrilled about having him around, complaining that he scares her fans. Her father, however, remains firm, telling her that being an idol comes with risks, and he'll make her quit if she doesn't understand her position. The scene flips back to Endo, who checks his phone and discovers that Rosashi's first solo concert is confirmed, complete with new songs and costumes. He is amazed, thinking about how hard Karen is working. He hasn't been to any events since he quit, but he is proud of her. Curious about his finances, Endo asks his coworker about payday, revealing he only wants to use clean money to support Karen from now on. Suddenly, the cashier reminds Endo about serving a customer, and they quickly apologize for any inconvenience. Just then, a car full of tough-looking men arrives, and a scary guy steps out, adding to the tension. Meanwhile, Endo remains calm, focusing on his new job at the register, and tells the cashier that those who slack off don't deserve a paycheck. Time jumps to March 26th, the day of Karen's solo concert. The atmosphere is charged with excitement as the manager tells the group that their popularity is soaring and all the tickets, including those available on the day, are sold out. The manager introduces the group members, Sakura, Ritsuki, Kaum, and Karen herself, each with their own color and personality. The group is pumped, determined to make the concert a huge success and reach the top together. Karen, feeling nervous for the first time, heads to the bathroom to calm down. Her friends tease her about being anxious, which isn't like her at all. As she steps outside, she sees Marita waiting. She jokes if he's going to follow her to the toilet too, and Marita awkwardly denies it, wishing her a safe trip. Inside the bathroom, Karen reflects on Marita's role, thinking he should be protecting all the girls, not just her. She feels pretty safe around her fans and wonders how Endo is doing. As she gazes into the mirror, she suddenly spots a group of men staring at her, and her eyes widen with shock. Meanwhile, Endo heads toward the concert venue, excited about seeing Karen after a long time. As he makes his way to the entrance, a car speeds past, startling everyone around. Endo turns to see what's going on, while Marita rushes after the car, shouting for people to clear the way. He's furious, realizing Karen has been kidnapped. He mutters that he doesn't want this to become a bigger incident and decides to contact the Prime Minister, feeling completely frustrated and defeated. Suddenly, a voice speaks from behind him. It's Endo in a darker tone, pointing out why Marita couldn't separate him from Karen during the handshake event. Marita stutters in shock, recognizing Endo, who calmly gets into the car with him. Endo makes a call, asking for a favor he can only request from that person. The scene shifts to an abandoned place where Karen finds herself held captive by a group of goons. She struggles and yells, demanding to be released and questioning who these people are. One of the men presses a gun against her cheek, forcing her to stay quiet. Karen's thoughts are racing, wondering if her fans have turned dangerous. She yells again, accusing the kidnappers of having no shame as fans for taking her away. Meanwhile, the lead goon makes a phone call, trying to connect with Popov. When he reaches the other end, Fujiyama answers with a hint of amusement, clearly not taking the situation too seriously. The goon explains their motive. They know they have kidnapped the Prime Minister's daughter, Karen, and they're holding her because the Prime Minister once relied on their boss for favors. However, once he rose to power, he cut all ties, leaving them feeling betrayed. The goons warn Fujiyama to stay out of their business unless he understands what's really going on. Fujiyama, unbothered, points out they are the ones misunderstanding the situation. He reveals that Karen isn't just the daughter of the Prime Minister and an idol. There's a crucial piece of information they missed. Karen is Endo Oral's favorite person. This revelation catches Popov off guard, especially as Endo suddenly bursts onto the scene, creating chaos and taking down the goons one by one. Popov turns around and is horrified to see the carnage Endo has left behind. Endo, with a menacing glare, charges at the remaining goons, smashing his way through them without mercy. He quickly picks up Karen, who is still blindfolded, and carries her away from the chaos. Confused and unable to see, Karen asks what's happening, and Endo reassures her that he's there to save her. As they move, he can't help but notice how cute she looks in her new costume. They reach the car, and Marita is frantic but relieved to see Karen safe. He blames himself for what happened, but Karen admits she wasn't cautious enough either. Endo warns them about the goons pursuing them and urges both to hurry to the venue. Marita asks if Endo plans to stay behind, and Endo confirms he will, knowing the goons won't give up easily. Just then, Karen, still blindfolded, tries to figure out who saved her by attempting to remove her blindfold. Endo stops her, pleading with her not to see his face or learn his identity. Understanding, Karen thanks him and asks him to come watch her concert. Endo is momentarily frozen by her request, but Marita quickly drives away with Karen in the car. The goons soon arrive and spot Endo, shifting their focus to him. Popov decides they can go after the girl later and orders his men to corner Endo. Back at the venue, Karen rejoins her group, apologizing for being late. They begin their performance, enthusiastically greeting the audience. Meanwhile, the goons, on high alert, enter the concert hall. Endo waits, hidden, and as soon as they enter, he leaps from above, attacking them with rods in his hands, taking them down swiftly while the girls perform on stage, unaware of the chaos happening around them. He continues his fierce battle, eliminating the goons with ruthless efficiency. One particularly menacing thug aims a gun at him, but Endo charges and knocks him out with a powerful strike. The remaining ones are left groaning on the floor, wounded and defeated. Outside, police cars arrive at the scene where Karen was initially held captive. Inside the concert hall, Karen and her group wrap up their performance, expressing gratitude to the audience and announcing their final song, a much-anticipated new release. They promise to keep giving their best and ask for continued support. Karen ends with a playful wink and a victory sign to the cheering crowd, while Endo, standing among the audience, looks at her with his own subtle smile and a victory sign. Endo preps his suit, making sure everything's crisp and clean. Afterward, he checks his bag, which is packed with all sorts of weapons, and even a medical kit. He reloads his pistol, checks his rods, and runs through a quick practice session, keeping himself sharp. Once he's ready, he steps out of his house, thinking he's off to support Karen. The scene shifts to Karen, who excitedly shows Endo a t-shirt from her merch, saying he should wear it sometime. It has a childish design that leaves Endo a bit shocked, wondering what he's looking at. She happily explains that she'd love to see him in something other than a suit next time. Endo thinks to himself that since he's quit being a hitman, there might not be a need for his suit anymore. Karen shyly adds that she designed the t-shirt herself this time, which surprises him even more, making his eyes widen. Suddenly, a guy wearing the same shirt bursts out laughing, asking what Kime-chan thinks. She laughs louder, saying people might think there's something wrong with him. Karen, a bit deflated, says she still thinks it's cute. Sakura chimes in, agreeing that the design might be popular with kids. Karen smiles and tells Endo she's sure he'd look cute in the shirt too. Endo is stunned, wondering if he'd actually look cute, while Marita is equally shocked at the thought. Karen then admits sadly that it might be hard for men to wear because the design is a bit too cute. Seeing her disappointed, Endo looks at her and firmly decides he can wear it. Later, Endo returns home, spreads the t-shirt on the table, and sits beside it, feeling a mix of frustration and confusion. He's been feeling all sorts of emotions since meeting Karen, and now he's wondering if this is what shame feels like. But for Karen, he even bites shame to death. He swings his blade angrily and glares at his suit, thinking about how it's a masterpiece of technology, providing him with protection like heat resistance, chemical resistance, and high water repellency. The suit can stop 50 AE rounds and even 12.7mm armor-piercing rounds, with top-grade bulletproofing and impact-reactive hardening liquid armor for vital areas. The shirt that comes with the suit is equally high-tech. Coming out of his thoughts, Endo takes the t-shirt in his hands and drops his head sadly, recalling Karen's words about it being hard for men to wear. He lifts his head and decides it's no big deal, putting on the t-shirt. As he steps out, a little kid suddenly appears with a gun and points it at him. Endo jumps high, but it turns out the kid is only shooting water. A woman appears, scolding the kid for playing in the hallway and asking about the noise. The scene shows Endo, who's been thrown off balance, crashing down from the balcony to the ground. Lying there, he thinks with concern that maybe it's a bit too dangerous after all. Outside, the rain pours down, and Endo stands there with the boy from earlier by his side. The boy glances at Endo, noticing something missing and remarks on the absence of the t-shirt Endo had previously worn. Endo reflects on the difficult decision he faced. Wearing that shirt, he realized, would be like throwing his life away. He had never been one to fear death before, but things had changed. Now, as someone devoted to supporting Karen, he couldn't afford to be reckless with his life. The boy, stunned by Endo's words, listens closely. Endo continues, admitting that his priorities have shifted. He can't just throw everything away now. Adjusting his glasses, the boy understands. He reminisces about his past when he felt similarly. Pulling out a light rod, the boy reflects on a time when he supported a different idol. Back in his student days, he had been a secret fan, hiding his devotion while juggling social invitations and events. He recalls the moment when his friends noticed his frequent absences and realized his priorities. His hesitation to fully embrace his passion led him to miss the most significant concert of his favorite idol, a day he still regrets. In the present, standing under the rain, the boy opens his arms wide, looking up at the sky. He has decided not to hold back anymore. Endo watches him from behind, his gaze intense and thoughtful. The boy takes a strip from his bag, ties it around his forehead, and boldly declares his intention to live without regrets. Endo, observing the boy's transformation, places a firm hand on his shoulder, causing the boy to wince in pain but also smile, as if relieved by the connection. Endo begins to think. He realizes that his time to support Curran isn't infinite. There's no point in hesitation. From the beginning, he had never planned to live with regrets. Without further delay, he rushes into Curran's concert, where the crowd is already in a frenzy. He lands among the cheering fans, now proudly wearing the t-shirt he had hesitated to put on earlier. He feels an unexpected lightness in his body, as if something that had been weighing him down is finally gone. He wonders if the suit he had worn wasn't protecting him, but instead holding him back. On stage, Karen notices a surge of her color among the audience, particularly in the back row. She feels a spark of happiness, thinking they might be new fans. The manager, spotting Endo, panics and calls out for Marita to handle the situation. Fearing that Endo might cause chaos, recognizing Endo, Marita rushes over, battling the strong pressure of the wind and the noise, worrying it might escalate into a serious incident. Reaching Endo, Marita is taken aback. Endo's t-shirt has torn apart from his intense dancing and cheering, leaving his upper body nearly exposed. Confused, Endo asks Marita if something is wrong, while Karen and her group finish their final song. After the show, Endo decides to buy another t-shirt, much to Karen's delight. She grins as she looks for an extra-large size, excited by his enthusiasm. However, Endo apologizes to Karen, admitting he will only display the t-shirt rather than wear it, as he feels more comfortable in his suit. Karen, smiling, compliments his suit and reveals her own fondness for suits, a taste influenced by her family background. She acknowledges that despite his dedication, she might have misunderstood him earlier. Endo quickly assures her that she wasn't wrong, but Karen continues, expressing how happy it makes her to see him wearing something he cherishes, knowing he dresses up just to see her. She adds that when he wears that suit, she can always spot him in the crowd. As Endo exits, Yoshida waits outside, noticing that he isn't wearing the t-shirt after all. He remarks on the resolution he senses in Endo, who confirms it with a nod and walks away, asserting that this is his uniform. Endo walks down a dimly lit street, his expression stern and focused. As he moves, a hidden camera captures his image briefly, but he continues onward, always aware of his surroundings. Keeping the street cameras in mind, he maneuvers in a way that keeps him out of their sight. He reminds himself of the golden rule: top-class hitmen never leave any trace of themselves. Sometimes this means pulling off bold actions without hesitation. He spots another camera and quickly waves a pamphlet, obscuring his face just in time. He glares at the camera and puts on his gloves, using a tiny string attached to the pamphlet to cover the lens as he passes by. His sharp eyes catch someone taking a picture of him, so he quickly waves the same pamphlet cloth and throws it at the photographer's face, blocking the shot. His instincts remind him to always be aware of his surroundings and never miss anything, embodying what it means to be a true hitman. Inside, he sees Karen getting her picture taken. She asks if he wants another solo photo, and he nods. She then asks for his help with poses, admitting she's out of ideas. Endo, in his usual serious manner, says he doesn't mind any pose if it's with Karen. She playfully argues, saying her pride as a professional won't allow for repeated or sloppy poses. She suggests taking a photo together, pointing out that shared moments are the essence of photos. Endo immediately declines the idea, refusing to be in any photos. Karen looks disappointed and asks why. He's about to reveal his true nature but stops himself just in time. Internally, he debates. He's quit being a hitman, but part of him still feels tied to his past. He considers the risks, remembering he's someone from the underworld who has never left a single photo in this world. It doesn't seem wise to start now, yet seeing Karen begin to walk away, he impulsively offers to take the picture, almost as if he can't resist. He moves beside her, agreeing to the photo. Karen tells him to strike a peace sign, but his grim expression doesn't change. She quickly reassures him it's okay. Marita gets ready to take the picture, but Endo remains tense, sweat forming on his brow. Just as Marita is about to snap the shot, Endo abruptly walks away. Karen grabs his arm and excitedly urges him to stay, almost pleading with him to relax and finish what they started. She encourages him again, but his face remains serious, and his anxiety is visible. The scene shifts to a past memory, where a man in a suit delivers a brutal punch to someone, knocking them down. The man turns to Fujiyama, asking what the target's job is today. Fujiyama, taking a casual drag from his cigarette, mentions 5 people. The man questions if his guidance is still necessary for such a small number. Owaro, the boy on the floor, weak and bleeding, insists he's finished all of them as required. The suited man replies that this is how it should be done. Owaro, still confused, asks for clarification. The suited man explains that a passerby accidentally took a photo near the scene and questions whether his job is only to hunt the target. He lectures that eliminating is just the minimum in their line of work. Top-class hitmen leave no traceable information about themselves. He warns that if a photo gets out, Owaro will go from being the hunter to the hunted. The man hands him a photograph, emphasizing the gravity of the mistake. Owaro, looking at the picture, asks who took it. The suited man reveals a camera stained with blood, demonstrating the consequence of Owaro's error. He asks Owaro how he feels now and grabs his throat, giving a harsh squeeze. He challenges him, questioning if Owaro is a failure who sympathizes with the target. The suited man adds that because of Owaro's carelessness, the photographer has now become a target. Crushing the camera in his hand, he expresses that he still has high expectations for Owaro's talent. He takes out the film from the camera and forces it into Owaro's mouth, ordering him to chew it thoroughly, or else he'll have to dig it out from the toilet. Endo Owaro, under intense pressure, starts chewing the film with a blank expression. He mutters his gratitude for the disposal of the witness, clearly shaken but accepting the harsh consequences of his mistake. The man pulls his hands away from Owaro's throat, emphasizing the need to always be aware of his surroundings and never overlook even the smallest details. Meanwhile, Fujiyama burns the picture with his cigarette. The man continues walking away, stressing the importance of mastering this awareness until it becomes as natural as breathing, something done unconsciously and instinctively. In the present, Marita is still trying to capture a picture of Endo and Karen. As he clicks, Endo swiftly moves behind Karen, resulting in a photo with only her in the frame. When Marita points out that Endo isn't in the picture, Karen feels a bit hurt. Endo, panicking, quickly explains that it wasn't intentional. It's just something he did instinctively, like breathing. Internally, he scolds himself, frustrated that his old habits are still controlling him. Determined to make things right, Endo declares he wants to take another picture with Karen, expressing that this is what he truly wants. Marita, visibly exasperated, glances at the long line of people waiting behind them but reluctantly agrees. Karen, excited by Endo's decision, is ready for another shot, though Endo is still concerned his body might move on its own again. Sensing his anxiety, Karen reassures him, saying it's a team effort. She creates a heart with her hands, guiding Endo to join in, but he remains tense. Marita signals that he's taking the photo. Endo feels intense pressure, thinking there's no way he'd mess up this time, especially with Karen's encouragement. Yet, as the picture is taken, Endo instinctively moves again, but without breaking the heart shape they made together. Once more, he's missing from the photo. Endo, still determined, mentions he has more photo tickets, which makes Karen even more excited. Despite numerous attempts, he is nowhere to be seen in any of the pictures. Surprisingly, Karen starts to enjoy the situation, finding it amusing for some reason. Endo, on the other hand, is concerned that maybe he has some sort of trauma with cameras. Desperate, he suggests to Marita that he might need to faint to stay in the frame, listing off absurd ways to achieve this, but Marita tells him to calm down. Karen, noticing Endo's growing frustration, comes up with a new idea. She asks him to focus solely on her, believing that if he does, he might forget about all the stress and instincts taking over. Endo, caught up in the moment, calls out to her, and Karen, with a knowing smile, signals Marita to quickly snap the photo. This time, it works perfectly. Karen signs the photo, delighted with the outcome, and hands it to Endo, who looks genuinely surprised. It's their first picture together, the only physical memory of the two of them in the world, something she urges him to cherish. Endo, holding the picture of them looking into each other's eyes, promises to protect it no matter what. Karen laughs at his dramatic vow, while Marita moves on to call the next person in line for a photo. The next day, Endo continues his job as a delivery boy, rushing through the streets at lightning speed to reach his destination. The client greets him, impressed as always with his swift delivery, and asks to inspect the goods. Endo hands over the parcel, and after a quick check, the client praises the freshness and perfect condition. Exactly what he'd expect from the legendary courier. He jokes about hiring Endo exclusively if he could, but Endo, sticking to his rule number 1, politely turns down the personal request. The client laughs, acknowledging that he knows Endo's principles and assures him that he'll definitely rely on him again in the future. As the client looks at the parcel, he mutters something about shaking it too much but proceeds to open it with determination. With a grin, he declares it's time to enjoy the deluxe chocolate parfait. Excitedly, he removes the contents and is thrilled to see the ice cream and chocolate are perfectly intact. Just then, a Rosacea concert pamphlet slips out, revealing that Endo has been discreetly delivering Rosacea posters along with his parcels. Riding his delivery bike, Endo checks his earnings on his phone and sees he's made 1,667 yen for the day. He smiles to himself, satisfied that he's saved enough for one Instax photo, finding joy in the small rewards for his hard work. Meanwhile, two boys are eagerly tracking their delivery on their phones. One of them excitedly announces that Endo is their delivery guy today. The other, curious, asks who that is, and the first boy explains that Endo is the legendary fast delivery guy, 3 times quicker than anyone else, never making mistakes and never losing anything. Endo is famous as the savior of the modern Hungary, and the two boys eagerly check his profile, discovering that his reason for delivering is to support an idol. As they track his movements on the map, they're amazed at how quickly he navigates through the city. It almost looks like he's moving through buildings, leading one of them to wonder if there's a glitch in the location tracker. The first boy starts to worry a bit, mentioning that he ordered nigiri sushi. The second one chimes in, saying he ordered a 3-tier chilled tofu. Meanwhile, Endo, facing a closed road, decides to take a bold shortcut, climbing buildings and leaping across rooftops to make his delivery. Despite the boys' initial concern, they're pleasantly surprised when he arrives promptly. They happily give him a 5-star rating, confirming the rumors about his speed and how their food arrived in perfect condition. Later, Endo heads over to Crystal Bakery to pick up his next order. The elderly man at the bakery is excited to meet him, having heard the rumors about Endo's legendary speed. He emphasizes how important freshness is in their business and thanks Endo for helping them maintain it. He then asks the old man for a favor. Curious, the man listens as Endo hands him some Rosacea flyers, requesting if he could display them in the bakery. The old man happily agrees, assuring Endo he'd be glad to help out. He asks Endo to wait while he retrieves the order. Returning with the package, the old man sets it down with a grin, telling Endo it's all ready. As Endo inspects the order, a puzzled expression crosses his face. The old man notices and asks what's up. Endo, sniffing the air cautiously, comments that the aroma seems oddly familiar. The old man, briefly startled, quickly laughs it off, saying, "Enjoy it through the nose first. That's their secret." Endo shoots the old man a chilly look before turning on his heel and walking away. The old man, still a bit confused, calls after Endo, asking about the flyers. He gives a brief response, saying it's fine since he got what he came for. Once outside, Endo checks his phone and realizes the delivery address is a private residence. He sighs, realizing he might have gotten something wrong. As he rides toward his destination, a group of bikers starts tailing him, their presence becoming more ominous. Eventually, he ends up cornered at a dead end, surrounded by the bikers. One of them taunts him, demanding the package if he wants to avoid trouble. Endo meets their threats with cold, unwavering eyes. Ignoring the warning, the biker lunges at him, but Endo swiftly dodges, causing pamphlets to fly out of his backpack like a messed-up confetti moment. In the confusion, one biker mistakenly swings his bat, hitting one of his own, knocking him down. Another steps up, confident he can take Endo's bag, only to be baffled by how unmovable it is. He mutters something about delivery guys being unusually strong nowadays, but before he can react further, Endo casually flicks him away. Watching from a distance, the third biker, clearly shocked, starts questioning whether snatching packages from delivery people was a smart idea. Just as Endo demands to know who hired them, he realizes one of the bikers is just a trembling young boy, too scared to even speak properly. The boy stammers out that they were just following orders sent through their phones and didn't know much else. Endo grabs 2 of them by their collars with a firm grip, looking ready to dish out some serious punishment. But just as things seem like they're about to escalate, the young boy breaks down in tears, pleading for mercy. He babbles about how they're just a broke family, caught in this mess because whoever hired them knows their identities and where they live. Crying, he swears they never wanted a life of crime and begs Endo to spare his brother. Endo loosens his grip, and instead of being harsh, he shows surprising compassion. He tells them that what they're caught up in is only the surface of the darker, more dangerous underground world. He urges them to turn back before it's too late, reminding them that if they want to protect their family, they need to stay away from this kind of trouble. Shaken by Endo's words, the boy listens closely. Then, in a subtle gesture, Endo hands him a pamphlet for Rosaché's concert, telling him that if he ever feels lost, he might find something meaningful there. Afterward, Endo quietly bends down to collect the scattered pamphlets, leaving the scene calmer than before. Curious and still shaken, the boy nervously asks why Endo went to such lengths to help them. Endo pauses, then calmly replies that the rule number 2 is to never miss out on missionary work. Later, Endo arrives at the private residence where he's supposed to deliver the package. He knocks, and a man answers the door, commenting that Endo is right on time, though he's heard rumors that Endo often delivers in half the usual time. The man casually asks if everything went smoothly. Endo, with a serious expression, responds, "There was a big problem." With a dramatic flair, he pulls out a large bun from the parcel, tears it open, and reveals drugs hidden inside, like a bakery mystery gone wrong. The man's face hardens as he inspects the damaged parcel, muttering about giving Endo a 1-star rating for ruining the goods. He glares at Endo, visibly displeased with what he perceives as a lack of professionalism. As tension rises, 2 thugs emerge from the shadows, flanking Endo. The man, now holding a gun, lectures Endo on the importance of delivering quietly despite creating dramatic reveals. Unfazed, Endo calmly reminds the man of rule number 3, that he only takes on clean jobs. With lightning speed, he pulls out his glow stick and teaches the thugs a lesson they won't forget anytime soon. Later, as the police swarm the bakery, arresting the workers, onlookers gather, whispering in shock. One girl, stunned, murmurs that she used to be addicted to their goods, only to find out they were producing meth. A nearby man comments dryly, "That's the reason this place was so popular." Meanwhile, Endo checks his phone and notices a scathing 1-star review from the drug dealer, complete with a chilling warning of regret. Annoyed, he tries to delete his account, but the app warns him that doing so will forfeit his hefty fee of 25,000 yen for the day. Furious, Endo's irritation peaks. He crushes the phone in his hand, tossing it into a dustbin, as if to rid himself of the frustration. The next day, Endo attends Rosaché's auction. As he passes by, he sees Yoshida sitting on a chair, frustration clear on his face as he pulls photos from an envelope. Endo stops and glares at him. Letting out a scream, Yoshida pulls out pictures of his favorite idols, only to suddenly feel someone's presence. Startled, he turns to see Endo standing there, glaring at him. Yoshida adjusts his glasses and responds, seeming unfazed. Endo hands over a bunch of photos, surprising Yoshida. The sudden gesture catches him off guard, prompting a puzzled reaction. He questions Endo's motives, wondering what led to this unexpected offer. He explains his reasoning, mentioning that he bought the photos to support Karen but doesn't need them. He goes on to explain the contents of the Rosacé Photocard pack, noting the specific cards it contains. Yoshida expresses excitement over the collection, noting how thrilling it is despite the purchase limit. He shares that he was fortunate to obtain all of Kaome's normal cards, though he still lacks the rare one. Yoshida thought Endo was also aiming for a complete set of Karen's cards. Endo's lack of interest in Photocard surprises Yoshida, leading to a comparison with Endo's enthusiasm for Instax photos and t-shirts. Endo clarifies that those items are special because they hold crystallized memories with Karen, while photocards are mere copies. He mentions that he's content with supporting goods and memories as Karen's fan, startling Yoshida. The idea of not accumulating more items and already having various goods stored away doesn't sit well with Yoshida. Yoshida presses further, questioning if Endo has ever held a photocard and passionately advocating for the experience. He emphasizes that the charm of photocards can only be understood through first-hand experience, advising Endo as a fellow Rosacé fan. Yoshida's enthusiasm peaks as he talks about the joy of pulling the cards, urging Endo to experience it for himself. Endo glares at Yoshida before punching the table. Yoshida asks if Endo has good luck, to which he nonchalantly responds, indicating that he has never relied on luck before. They open the pack and Yoshida's excitement soars when Karen's photocard appears. He comments on Endo's luck, prompting Endo to inspect the photos further. Endo can't judge the experience based on just one card and keeps looking through the remaining cards. To his surprise, he finds 2 more pictures of Karen, imagining different versions of her in his mind. Yoshida continues to encourage Endo, reminding him that they're down to the last pack, which only contains 1 normal and 1 rare card. Endo begins to doubt whether he will see another Karen photocard. He pulls out a Photocard, exciting Yoshida, but the absence of courier shocks Endo. He realizes he underestimated the value of photocards and internally apologizes for calling them mere copies. Yoshida, sensing Endo's disappointment, suggests trading to complete their collections. Yoshida offers a trade, stating his wish for Kaon's rare card and offering Ritsuki's rare card as a potential trade. Endo glares but eventually agrees, acknowledging Yoshida's attempt to help him secure Kaorin's rare card. They exchange the remaining cards, with Yoshida handing over the Kaorin photos to Endo, solidifying their agreement. They step outside where a group of fans is gathered, all eager to complete their collections. Yoshida nudges Endo, pointing out that they aren't the only ones looking to finish their favorite sets. He suggests they find someone willing to trade Ritsuki's rare photocard for Kaorin's. Noticing Endo's silence, Yoshida reassures him that it'll be fine, emphasizing Ritsuki's immense popularity among Rosacea fans. The loudspeaker announces the schedule. The last band performance will end in 10 minutes, and after a short break, it will be Rosacea's turn on stage. With time running short, Yoshida realizes they're in the midst of a trading rush hour, the perfect time to find potential trades. He suggests they split up and make the most of their limited time. Endo spots a boy and asks about trading for Kaorin's rare card, but the boy quickly shuts him down, saying he is also a fan of Kaorin and can't part with it. Realizing it might be better to avoid other Kaorin fans, Endo moves on. He approaches another person who confirms they have a Kaorin's rare card. Endo tries to negotiate a trade, but the boy interrupts, stating he'd only trade it for a Sakura rare card. Endo thinks to himself that it would be faster to target fans of Ritsuki, but with time running out, he doesn't have the luxury to be picky about whom he approaches next. As Endo is standing around, someone bumps into him while running past. The man quickly apologizes, but Endo places a hand on his shoulder and asks if he has the rare Kaorin card. The man shakes his head in refusal, leaving Endo disappointed as time is running out. Suddenly, Endo hears a trembling voice nearby. A boy on the phone is nervously explaining that he feels lonely going alone to the event. He admits he got to meet the idol, but the staff seems intimidating, and it feels unfamiliar. The person on the other end of the call warns him to be careful, mentioning that there can be dangerous people around. The boy mutters to himself, feeling a bit uneasy after being told that. Endo notices the boy and approaches him, asking if it's his first time at a Rosacea event. The boy stutters a yes and nervously answers that he bought a couple of photo cards during the pre-sale. He's trying to gauge whether Endo is just a friendly person or something else entirely. Meanwhile, Endo is deep in thought, wondering how to communicate with this newcomer, who might not even know the members' names and faces. The boy, trying to break the tension, asks if they can hang out since his friend canceled, and he's feeling a bit lonely. In response, Endo asks if he's interested in the blue stuff. This startles the boy, who quickly apologizes, saying he's not into that sort of thing. Endo, undeterred, places his hand on the boy's shoulder, insisting that he felt the same way at first, but that the boy should try it to see how good it is. The boy is filled with fear, thinking that once he gets involved, it'll be too late. But Endo keeps pressing, suggesting that the boy might change his mind once he sees it. The boy gets terrified and tries to flee, shouting that he doesn't want to see it and begging to be spared. Yoshida suddenly appears, noticing the scene and comments on how lively things seem. He asks the boy if he's new, and the boy nods, though he's thinking to himself about how suspicious everyone seems. He wonders if all idol fans are this odd. Yoshida introduces Plus himself and Endo, assuring the boy that Endo is just another enthusiastic fan. Endo turns to the boy, asking if he has Kaorin's rare photocard and if he'd be willing to trade. The boy, still hesitant, mentally confirms his suspicion about Endo's interests, but admits that he did buy a pack of photocards and thinks he has a rare one featuring Kaorin. This news excites both Endo and Yoshida. Endo proposes a trade, offering the blue stuff in exchange. The boy misunderstands, but as he meets Yoshida, he shows interest, saying he's also a fan of Ritsuki and would be happy to trade. Yoshida congratulates Endo, while the boy starts searching his bag, mentioning he put the card and his wallet in his pocket. Suddenly, he realizes something is wrong and rushes to the counter to search for his missing items. When asked, the staff responds they haven't seen any wallet fitting his description. Panicking, the boy wonders what to do, lamenting that he's already checked everywhere he might have dropped it. Yoshida asks about the specific details of the wallet, which the boy confirms, feeling embarrassed. Endo, piecing things together, suggests that the wallet might not be lost. He recalls bumping into someone earlier and mentions almost losing a card during the encounter. Meanwhile, the man Endo bumped into walks away, feeling pleased with himself. He thinks it's the perfect time to leave, counting this as his 4th easy score, as he considers idle fans easy targets. He grins, planning to sell whatever he's gotten. Endo suddenly appears behind him, placing a hand on his shoulder and coolly stating that he wants to make a trade. The man tries to make an excuse, pretending he's about to leave, but Endo vanishes dramatically, only to reappear moments later with a cold, determined expression. Sensing the tension, the man nervously smirks, pretending he doesn't understand what Endo was talking about. Endo, unfazed, calmly points out that he's encountered many people like him before in his line of work. This rattles the man, who starts to panic, unsure of what Endo means. The man suddenly notices a card spinning on the ground, and to his shock, he realizes it's his ID card. He kneels down, staring at it in disbelief. As he turns around, he senses someone behind him, but when he looks, there's no one there. Panicked, he begins to run, but as soon as he takes his first step, he stumbles and falls. Confused, he looks down and is horrified to see that the laces of both his shoes are tied together. Overwhelmed, he starts screaming in fear. Endo appears once more, looming over the man like an eerie shadow. He coldly demands the man return everything he stole, offering in return the chance to leave the place alive. The scene then shifts to Karen and her group, who are grateful to everyone for buying their first photocards. They heard from the staff that trading was already happening among the fans. Yoshida and Endo arrive with the boy, who expresses his gratitude to Endo for finding his wallet. Endo brushes off the thanks casually. Marita heads to the counter to report some lost items, surprised to find that there are 3 of them. Meanwhile, Mitsuri asks if everyone got the photos they wanted, and the boy eagerly shows her the card he got, revealing it to be her rare card. Mitsuri is delighted and thanks him, noticing that everyone with a rare card is proudly showing it off. Karin, excited, spots Endo holding her rare card and is thrilled, which catches Endo off guard, making him feel overwhelmed by her charms. Karin and her group express their happiness that everyone could get along and trade their cards. Later, as the scene shifts to Yoshida, Endo, and the boy reflects on how the day has become a great memory for him, thanks to the photo and meeting both of them. He realizes that photocards have a way of connecting people. Yoshida agrees but suggests it's still too early to feel satisfied, prompting him and the boy to jump excitedly in the air. Karin finds herself in a tense situation, realizing she needs to hurry back or the concert will be in trouble. The kidnapper informed that Endo is the one responsible for Karin's escape. At present, Karin is lost in thought, recalling the moment someone rescued her. She couldn't see his face as she was blindfolded. She sits with Kaume, Sakura, and Mitsuri. Mitsuri informs her that her pancakes have arrived and, noticing Karin's smile, teasingly asks if she's in love. She instantly denies it, but Mitsuri warns her that such expressions might give away her secret to the fans. Karin insists there's nothing to reveal, though internally she's filled with questions about her mysterious rescuer, Endo Awaru, and wonders if he could be connected to someone she knows. Their attention is suddenly caught by a news report on TV about an explosion and an incident involving a man named Fuchiru Owari. Karin can't help but think about Endo, and her mind races with possibilities. The scene shifts back 6 hours earlier. Fujiyama and his men are in a forest. He tells them to wait, emphasizing they must not follow him, and walks alone toward an abandoned house. Inside, Endo is waiting. Fujiyama apologizes for arriving unannounced, mentioning they have some trouble to discuss. He acknowledges it's been a long time since they last met. Another man, Miwa Kagashi, introduces himself as the leader of the Maywa group's 6th generation, casually munching on something. Fujiyama chastises him for his lack of patience, noting it isn't polite to keep people waiting. Maywa hands Endo a bag, calling it a souvenir and remarking that Endo's safe house is quite a nice place. He notes that Endo seems to have been coming here often, suggesting that he's been living a more ordinary life lately. He observes that Endo has become a regular person with a home to return to. Endo remains silent, his gaze fixed on them. Miwa continues, saying he was taught by his late father to become a man of action, like Endo and Fujiyama. He suggests that Endo's time away has been enjoyable, but now it's time for his little vacation to end. Endo looks shocked but keeps his composure. Fujiyama then demands that Endo come with them to their headquarters, only for Endo to respond, reminding them he has already been fired and refuses to go back. Maywa explains that the Union Council has raised objections, and they are reconsidering his dismissal. He insists Endo come with them. Endo calmly asks if he can turn off the stove first. Maywa agrees, remarking that it would be terrible if the house caught fire. As Endo moves to turn off the stove, Maywa and Fujiyama start to walk away, with Fujiyama assuring Endo that he will keep his promise. Endo enters a room, finding a shirt given by Karen displayed in a frame on the wall. He slides the frame aside to reveal an array of weapons behind it. His gaze shifts from the guns to a photo of himself and Karen, and he carefully removes several rods, slipping them into his coat before surveying his surroundings with a steely glare. The scene shifts to a meeting where Yakushima Moritaka, the vice president of the Fujiyama Group, speaks about Endo Awaru's contributions. He praises Endo's immeasurable impact on the group's peace and prosperity, highlighting his dedication and success in every difficult task. Yakushima emphasizes that Endo's loyalty is unparalleled. As Endo arrives at the meeting, the attendees whisper among themselves, marveling at his presence and questioning whether he's truly human. One man asserts that Endo is more than just the president's personal guard. He's a valuable asset to the entire Fujiyama Group. He argues that losing Endo would be a significant loss and insists that retiring him is out of the question. This view is presented as the unanimous decision of the Union Executive Council. Fujiyama responds dismissively, indicating that the others don't understand his decision. Another voice chimes in, identifying itself as Iwaki Akira, president of the Waki Group, who expresses frustration with the decision. He details the recent attack by the Russian mafia, pointing out that dealing with such a highly skilled and heavily armed group is far from trivial. He decries the notion of calling Endo useless. Fujiyama counters, stating he cannot employ someone who feels guilty about killing. Kongo Riki, affiliated with the Fujiyama Group and president of the Kongo family, then interjects, suggesting that a responsible owner should tame their monster-class hitman if he is no longer useful. Riki argues that Endo should be disposed of. Maywa laughs and intervenes to diffuse the tension. He reassures everyone that the Union Executive Council values and respects Endo and that they are merely seeking a way to make him cooperate again for mutual benefit. This response irks Kongo, who rebukes Maywa, labeling him a privileged brat and suggesting that his seat should have been left empty. Maywa remains unfazed, sarcastically responding that it's better to stay silent if one lacks a solid argument. He criticizes Kongo's short-sightedness and lack of judgment in people, implying that it's strange for someone like Kongo to be part of the executive meeting, given his reckless approach to deciding life and death matters. Maywa then seeks to redirect the discussion, apologizing for the quarrel and asking if he may offer a suggestion. As he is about to speak, Kongo suddenly grabs the ashtray and throws it at Maywa. Just before it hits Miwa's face, a suited man swoops in and catches it. Maywa remains unfazed, and the suited man places the ashtray back in front of Kongo. Maywa casually points out that the suited man is also one of their employees. The suited man warns Kongo to keep his cat in check and suggests that nothing unusual happened here. Maywa then addresses Fujiyama, stating that Endo's current hesitation in killing seems like a temporary glitch. Maywa reminisces about Endo's work from 10 years ago, noting his ability to kill without any emotional involvement, which made him the perfect hitman. Maywa believes Endo's true nature hasn't changed, and that with the right environment, he can return to his former self. Maywa asks everyone to leave Endo's issues to him. Fujiyama surveys the room, looking for any objections, but finds none. He reluctantly acknowledges the consensus, even though it's not what he wanted. Maywa then turns to Endo with anticipation, expressing eagerness for what's to come. Fujiyama approaches Endo, placing a hand on his shoulder and suddenly pulls out a gun, shooting him in the head. Blood splatters across Fujiyama's face, shocking everyone in the room, including Maywa. The room erupts in chaos as Endo collapses to the floor with a thud. Fujiyama continues firing, leaving everyone in stunned disbelief. He explains his actions, questioning the value of a top-class hitman who could be killed by his sluggish gun. He argues that if Endo were to be used carelessly, he might make a fatal mistake, and no one would take responsibility for that. Fujiyama emphasizes that he unified the underworld, and now everyone enjoys their power without conflict. He challenges anyone with issues about his decision to step forward. As Maywa exits the meeting room with another man, the man admits that Fujiyama's actions might not have been entirely wrong. Maywa smirks, agreeing with the man's assessment, and concludes that the Fujiyama group is finished. They are just a bunch of stubborn old men. Meanwhile, inside the meeting room, Fujiyama stands alone with Endo's lifeless body. Fujiyama then calls in the cleaning team, instructing them that this is a top-secret matter and not to use the fishing technique. He emphasizes the need to clean up without leaving any trace. The team nods in agreement. One team member, sitting beside Endo's body, expresses sadness, noting that she never expected to clean up after someone she admired. Another team member suggests switching if it's too much, but she brushes it off, saying it's fine. As she removes her mask and examines Endo's body, she notices something odd, piercing marks she never saw before. Shocked, she comments that Endo wouldn't get piercings. She examines his face closely, noticing the dark circles around his eyes are gone, realizing it was just makeup. She smiles, relieved, saying that her Endo-san never wore makeup. The scene shifts to the past where Endo is seeing off Fujiyama. Fujiyama tells him they'll meet again at HQ. As the car is about to leave, a man who looks exactly like Endo peeks from Fujiyama's. The man comments on their similar appearances and invites Endo to join him in the car, noting cheerfully that while Endo needs more vitamins, he himself doesn't have dark circles. Fujiyama then says they'll drop the man off at HQ, where he will take on the identity of Endo Owaru. The man informs Endo about the murders of 8 hostesses in Minami City, boasting that he will surpass Endo's legend. He assures Endo he can handle it. After dropping off the man, Endo is left alone in the car with Fujiyama. Endo asks sadly if Fujiyama planned to kill the man from the beginning. Fujiyama responds that Endo has changed. He then tells Endo they will head to Safe House K13 as planned, assuring him that no one will find him there. Endo insists on being taken back to the place he was picked up from, mentioning an Instax photo he has there. Fujiyama initially refuses, stating that Endo can't return to a place known to the higher-ups where he is believed to be dead. Endo insists, and Fujiyama turns the car around. As Endo retrieves the photo, Fujiyama mutters in frustration about how Endo's obsession with the Instax photo shows how much he has changed. When Endo gets to his room to grab the Instax photo, he's stunned to find it missing. Suddenly, a massive truck slams into his house with enormous force. Peering outside, Endo sees that an oil tanker has also hit the car parked outside. A guy with a missile launcher aims at his house, ready to blow it up. Endo makes a split-second decision and bolts outside, narrowly dodging the attack. The missiles hit the oil tanker, causing a huge explosion that sets his house on fire. Endo manages to escape the blast, but he's furious and devastated as he watches all his stuff, his entire collection and that signed t-shirt from Karen, burning to ashes. The guy with the missile launcher walks up to him, saying Endo didn't survive just to be taken out by a truck or rocket launcher, and that the real threat is different. The guy awkwardly scratches his head and suggests that if Endo's still alive, he should speak up, as he didn't think anyone needed the place anymore and just set it on fire. Amid the chaos and disbelief, Endo rushes to his burning house, desperately trying to save his photocards and Korin merchandise, but everything is already turned to ash. The man warns Endo that the real danger is elsewhere. He says he's here to deliver a message. He doesn't want Endo to quit being a hitman. Endo, realizing the man is the one who took his Instax photo, attacks. He throws his glow stick at the man's face and keeps hitting him repeatedly, fueled by anger and determination. Endo lands a solid hit with his glow stick, knocking the man to the ground. During the fight, the man taunts Endo, expressing disappointment that Endo couldn't finish him off with what he calls a toy. He mocks Endo, calling him Fujiyama's killing machine turned idiot, and comments on Endo's apparent illness, but reassures him he'll fix him up. To make things worse, he shows Endo an Instax photo with Karen and then tosses it into the fire. Endo, devastated by the loss of the photo, remembers Karen's words about the photo being their only physical memory together and her plea to cherish it. He had promised her he wouldn't let anyone take the photo away, even if it meant taking drastic measures. As Endo collapses to his knees, crushed by the loss, the man continues to taunt him. He mocks Endo's transition from legendary hitman to idle fan, saying their only worth is in killing, and that hitmen are just tools with no purpose other than being used. Endo clenches his fists, torn between his emotions and the cruel words. Then, Endo smashes his glow stick into the man's face, slicing it open, and follows up with a solid kick to the gut, sending the man flying. The man, impressed, gets back up and says Endo exceeds his expectations. He announces that Endo Owaru has returned. He steps forward, ready to deliver a final blow with the broken glow stick. Just as he swings, a Korin photocard flies through the air and lands on the man's face. Endo's hand stops mid-swing. The evil man questions why Endo hesitates and urges him to finish the job, warning that if Endo doesn't take him out, he'll keep coming back to his deadly ways. He says tools have their way of life, leaving the choice up to Endo. He calmly removes the photocard from the man's face and tells him he's welcome to come back as often as he wants. He declares he's done being anyone's pawn and will choose his own path from now on. Just then, Fujiyama appears out of nowhere and shoots the evil man from behind. He checks on Endo, asking if he's okay. To their surprise, the evil man gets back up. He says he's just following his boss's orders and reminds Endo that his fans don't want him to retire. He tells Endo to think about their wishes, then says goodbye and quickly runs down the hill, vanishing from sight. Later, Maywa takes a phone call, noting that Endo is indeed alive. He thinks Endo's reason for retirement is pretty cliché but typical of the president's style. Maywa points out that it's actually helpful if people believe Endo is dead, keeping it as their little secret. He asks the caller if they thought about what will happen now that Fujiyama's deterrent is gone and what the future might hold. At her concert, Karen scans the crowd but can't spot Endo. She wonders if he's the same Endo from the TV report. Unbeknownst to her, Endo makes a dramatic entrance into the concert, like a surprise encore. Fujiyama sits in his chair taking a drag from his cigarette and looking at his laptop screen, while the driver who was with Endo earlier bows in front of him. His name is Shinuzaki, and he is Fujiyama Group HQ president. He tells Fujiyama that they finished arrangements with the government and media. Fujiyama takes a drag from his cigarette and casually says, "So what?" Shinuzaki informs him that they collected all the items from the scene but found no clues left by the slippery guy and his accomplice. He mentions the only thing they could identify, a man with a shaved head and 2 shaved stripes on each temple, although he couldn't see the man's face clearly. Just then, Fujiyama's phone rings. Miwa's on the line, thanking Fujiyama for his hard work and pointing out how serious things have become. With a touch of humor, Maywa mentions that rumors of Endo's death have already spread through Kansai's underworld. Maywa suggests they should definitely handle the situation. He asks Fujiyama to let the Maywa group help out and expresses concern that the Fujiyama group might face unrest if they don't handle things carefully. Fujiyama tells Maywa to be careful, especially considering the recent issues at the harbor. He warns against causing any unnecessary trouble. Maywa is curious about the Russians involved in Endo's attack and pushes for more details. Fujiyama hesitates, hinting that there are some undisclosed details about the incident that weren't shared with the executive committee. It seems to involve a Russian national kidnapping the Prime Minister's daughter. While watching Karen's concert video, Maywa casually asks if there's any link between Endo and Karen. He muses that foreigners often make mistakes when they don't know the whole story. Maywa wonders if Endo's absence during that time is connected to Karen's situation. Fujiyama tells him to not get involved in this, to which Maywa mockingly admits that Endo was his favorite. Fujiyama responds carefully, saying they've managed to keep good relations so far with the Prime Minister Mayabishi and the government. He warns Maywa about the risks of making enemies with powerful people, suggesting it could jeopardize their comfortable position. Fujiyama asks Maywa not to stir up trouble. Maywa nods, acknowledging the seriousness of the situation. Then Fujiyama abruptly ends the call. Later, Shinuzaki, trying to stay undercover, finds Endo chilling on a city bench. He sighs dramatically and blames Endo for causing all the chaos. Shinuzaki says that without solid confirmation, all they can do is wait and see. He starts to hint at who might be behind everything, but Endo cuts him off, mentioning Maywa's name. Endo casually notes that Maywa's been keeping an eye on him for a while. Shinuzaki laughs, commenting on Endo's straightforwardness, and asks if he has a plan. Endo shrugs, saying it's become personal between him and Maywa, implying he's not under Fujiyama's control anymore and doesn't need babysitting. Shinuzaki shakes his head, teasing that Endo can't keep saying that. Everyone knows he's still caught up in this mess, whether he likes it or not. Shinuzaki suggests that Maywa will probably try to contact Endo again and advises him to leave town and lay low. Endo refuses, saying he's going to keep doing things his way. Shinuzaki presses him, asking if Endo thinks the president staged the whole drama in the executive meeting for no reason, and if he plans to just throw it all away. Endo responds calmly, saying he just wants to honor Mr. Fujiyama's wishes. As he stands up, Endo reflects that he was once just a tool of death until Fujiyama gave him freedom. Endo starts questioning Shinuzaki about freedom, wondering if living in hiding can really be called freedom and he starts swirling around. This confuses Shinozaki, and he calmly tries to ask something. Suddenly, with a burst of energy, Endo begins dancing around. It prompts Shinozaki to turn around and look at him in surprise. Endo states Maywa is not an idiot, declaring that as long as he is aiming to defeat him, they probably won't mess with him or Karen again. He boldly announces he'll keep living his life as usual, all while dancing. Shinozaki, completely caught off guard, asks Endo to stop and questions what he's up to. But Endo keeps jumping around, performing silly antics. Amidst his playful moves, he explains that this year's Rosacea band is putting in so much effort, so he feels the need to match their energy. Shinozaki is stunned, unable to believe what he's witnessing from Endo, who has changed that much. Meanwhile, scene shifts to the Rosacea band attending dance classes with a famous choreographer. Watching their progress, the choreographer praises Kaon for her sharpness and impressive dance skills. He also compliments Ritsuki for her rhythm and special style in their performances. Then he calls Karen, who excitedly looks at him. He thinks for a moment and states that he is not impressed as her rhythm is too ordinary. He bluntly tells her that just relying on good poses and charm won't be enough to master his choreography, which is tougher than she thinks. But when it comes to Sakura, he's less impressed and calls her the worst of the worst. He critiques her dance style, saying her rhythm is too soft and she is hardly moving. The choreographer informs them that he watched their last live performances and found them lacking. He stresses that teamwork is crucial, and if even one member is off, the whole routine falls apart. As the band members look exhausted from the harsh feedback, their manager steps in to lift their spirits. He reminds them of their big goal for the year, how many popular idols have launched their careers at this festival, calling it a gateway to stardom. They finally pass the screening for the highly anticipated Queen of the Idol Festival, but with the qualifiers only a month away, there's no time to waste. Worried about their progress, the manager has brought in top choreographer Shigaya for intense training sessions. He gathers the group together, reminding them that he chose the four of them specifically for this opportunity. No one can afford to miss out. Let's help each other and push past our limits, step by step, he encourages them. With determination, he assures them that together, they can tackle any challenge. Later, as they leave the training room, Karen tries to lift everyone's spirits by confidently saying they'll succeed. But the other girls express doubts about Sakura being able to keep up with the choreography. Curious about where Sakura is, Karen goes looking for her and finds her still in the training room. To her surprise, Sakura is dancing effortlessly, moving with a grace that exceeds all their expectations. The three girls approach Sakura, stunned by her sudden skill and dedication. They shower her with praise, acknowledging her newfound talent and encouraging her to believe in herself more. However, Sakura admits that while she can nail the moves when practicing alone, she struggles when others are watching. The girls try to cheer her up, suggesting she imagine the audience as pumpkins, but Sakura objects, joking that the pumpkins call her by name. She explains her difficulty stems from instinct or unconscious nerves, making it hard for her to perform in front of people. Karen comes up with a plan, suggesting Sakura watch her dance to help her focus. The four of them jump into a training session together, determined to help Sakura overcome her challenges and improve, and advise her to not look at mirrors while practicing, as there will be no mirrors in the show. A few days later, performance day arrives, and the girls are full of confidence. They step onto the stage to cheers from their fans, including Endo, who is excited to see Karen perform. Addressing the crowd, they shared how hard they practiced for this moment, and today they are going to show the outcome of their hard work. Karen announces the start of their show with excitement. As the music starts, their synchronized dance routine wows the audience. Their rhythmic steps feel like a symphony. Despite the nervousness, Sakura is also doing well in her performance by glancing at Karen's movement. The fans cheer louder with every precise move, loving the show. Everything starts off flawlessly, but as the performance goes on, Karen gets a little too excited and something strange happens. Karen's earphone slips off mid-performance. Endo notices it too and is instantly shocked. Panic surges through Karen as she realizes what's happened, her mind racing. But instead of giving in to the worry, she pushes herself to stay focused, remembering all the hard work and training she's done with the others. With renewed determination, she keeps dancing, refusing to let the mishap throw her off. Her teammates notice that she is offbeat and quickly remind her to stick to the choreography, which causes Karen to panic as she realizes her mistake. She starts feeling hopeless, almost ready to give up. Just then, Endo, watching from the audience, starts dancing spontaneously. His eyes lock with Karen's, silently encouraging her to follow his lead. She watches him closely, and suddenly, in a moment of clarity, she mirrors his movements perfectly. The performance falls back into perfect sync, with Endo effortlessly blending into their routine and matching every move with precision. Karen watches Endo, her thoughts racing. His movements are so precise, almost mechanical, like a dancing cyborg. There's no hesitation. Everything he does is sharp and exact, too sharp to be considered cute. But that's exactly why she can see the timing so clearly now. The crowd watches in amazement as the performance turns into a dazzling display of unity and skill. Karen and the others dance in perfect harmony with Endo, and their earlier slip-up becomes a distant memory. Their manager and choreographer looked at them proudly. Yoshida and other fans are relishing their performance. After the show, during the meet and greet, Karen gathers the courage to ask Endo for a photo together. Endo casually mentions that he lost the last photo they took, leaving Karen surprised and confused. Instead of showing any disappointment, Karen suggests they take another photo together. At that moment, she admits to Endo about the mistake she made during the dance. Endo reassures her warmly, telling her she did great and there was nothing wrong. Meanwhile, Marita chimes in, teasing Endo not to mess up the photo this time and to pose confidently. With a playful spirit, Endo and Karen form a heart shaped with their hands, and the photo captures the genuine bond between them. The scene diverts to a baseball court where players are enthusiastically playing. From a distant building, a sniper takes out several of them. Impressed by the sniper's accuracy, a man praises his skill. The sniper, feeling uneasy about being watched, admits the pressure is tough. Fujiyama introduces Endo to the sniper, revealing him as the best in the country, and suggests Endo spend 6 months training with him, despite the sniper's nerves. The sniper, Shimoda, tips his hat and introduces himself, honored to meet Awaru-kun. In the present, Endo, the boy from earlier, and Yoshida sit in a restaurant. Yoshida excitedly announces Rosashi's progress to the preliminaries, but Endo stays silent, creating a somber mood. Yoshida acknowledges their success, but points out the challenge ahead. They need enough likes on Exter to secure a spot in the top 224. The competition is fierce, with many more well-known groups participating in the open audition. Yoshida estimates they'll need at least 30,000 likes to make it through. Given the national heavyweights they're up against, Rosase is in for a tough uphill battle. The guy asks what that means for them, prompting Yoshida to explain how crucial it is for them to go viral on social media in any way possible. Anything that can be shared on Xitter will help. He then wonders aloud if there's anything the otaku community can do to boost their cause. Yoshida explains that while management handles the videos and music, they need fans to support them through photos. The guy hesitates at first, mentioning their lack of professional skills. He remembers a legendary story about a local idol whose career took off thanks to a fan-taken photo. Inspired by this, he suggests their photos could have the same impact on Rosashi's future. This excites the boy as he thinks about Ritsuki. Just then intervenes, calmly saying he's already got all the gear needed for the task to take photos. Yoshida adds that sharing these photos could spark reactions from their fans, even becoming their new SNS icons or headers. Yoshida then explains that Rosase will be performing at a free event this weekend, held outdoors on a rooftop. The setting promises great conditions for photography, with natural light and a cool breeze. He emphasizes this is the perfect chance for fans to snap some candid, high-quality photos of the group in action. He also mentions that the event organizers understand the importance of photography, setting up a way for fans to capture the perfect pose at the right moment. The boy asks which pose they should go with, given all the options. Confidently, the otaku says it's obvious and turns to Endo for confirmation. Without hesitation, Endo places his teacup down and strikes their signature pose, and the rest follow, knowing it's the one that resonates most with fans. The next day, they gather on the rooftop, excited for the event. Yoshida explains that idol activities aren't just limited to live houses. Free events like this one draw large crowds and give idols a chance to really showcase their talents. He mentions that Rosake always takes part in such events as it involves a bigger audience. He calls it a best photo opportunity and best way to get new fans. Everyone is buzzing, with many holding cameras and some even have tripods. Yoshida comments that using tripods might be a bit much nowadays, pointing out that smartphone cameras are more than capable of taking great photos. Yoshida then asks if he has seen Endo around. The boy shakes his head, saying he doesn't think Endo has arrived yet. With the live show about to start, the boy wonders what's going to happen next. Meanwhile, in the neighboring building, Endo waits like a seasoned paparazzi, camera in hand. He's equipped with a top-notch camera, ready to capture shots of Karen. Sighing to himself, Endo mutters that he won't be joining her on stage today. As Karen and her band kick off their performance, Endo adjusts his camera, determined to capture her natural smile from outside the venue. More than just fan excitement, this moment feels like a strategic opportunity for him. It takes him back to a lesson from his sniper instructor. His teacher once taught him that keeping distance and a wide perspective isn't just useful for close combat. It allows for surprise attacks at the perfect moment, giving full control of the situation. Endo watches as his teacher locks onto the target, the second car in the convoy, focusing on Mijita Shu, a lieutenant from the Taipei group, and Sagawa Gonzo, a former Fujimura member and now a traitor leading the enemy. While the convoy moves at a steady pace, the teacher takes his time, casually sipping tea as he calculates how long it'll take to take down the targets. He's got it down to a science: reload, aim, fire, all within a couple of seconds. But he knows that after the first shot, people are going to realize what's happening. Shimoda starts thinking through all the possible reactions. Will the other target freeze? Will the guards or driver react quickly? Predicting chaos is tricky, but minimizing risk is key for a sniper. Endo suggests a backup plan, but the teacher is confident he can handle it solo. He's got a risky plan to take out both targets as they make a turn. Even with a train approaching that could block the shot. Endo doubts it'll work, but the teacher isn't worried. He sees threading the shot between moving objects as a challenge, not a risk. When the moment comes, the teacher fires, threading the bullet perfectly between a building and the oncoming train. It's a dead-on hit, and even Endo is blown away by the precision. The guards of the target are caught off guard, and the teacher reminds Endo to never lose his cool. A sniper's real strength is in staying calm and detached, avoiding the heat of the moment. In close combat, it's easy to get swept up in the intensity, but a sniper's greatest weapon is their ability to stay focused and calm, even in unpredictable situations. The teacher reflects on how he never really gets used to the job. There's more to it than just minimizing risk. He always kills with one shot to spare the targets from realizing they're about to die. He can't stand the idea of someone dying in fear. Unlike others, he's just an ordinary person, so he always aims to kill swiftly and mercifully. It's his personal conviction. Back in the present, Endo sits with his camera, ready to take photos of Karen. His teacher's lessons have become a core part of him, shaping how he approaches even simple tasks like this. Without those teachings, he'd probably just be another reckless fan, cheering without much thought. But now his approach to fan support has turned into something more strategic and thoughtful, thanks to the sniper skills that have somehow evolved into his fan activity. Although he avoids taking multiple shots of Karen, his intense focus makes his heart race, causing his initial photos to come out blurry. Annoyed, he takes a step back, realizing he needs to calm down and refocus as he was taught better than this. With renewed determination, Endo adjusts his settings and successfully captures another set of photos. One of the fans who is taking pictures on site is affected by the amount of flashes coming while Endo is capturing photos. Endo clicks away, taking a number of photos, all while reminding himself that this isn't just for his own satisfaction. His true goal is clear: he's taking these photos to help Karen qualify for the gift competition. That's his mission, and he's committed to it fully. His conviction drives him to give everything he has, all for her success. As he snaps, he wonders about the perfect timing for each shot, wanting everything to line up just right. His focus shifts to his laptop, where Karen's photo pops up on the screen. He can't blame her for looking uneasy. Today's a free live show, and with a bunch of new fans and cameras around, the pressure of the gift preliminaries must be weighing on her. But seeing her so visibly nervous in front of the audience is unsettling for him. He notices as other fans try to snap photos of their idols, the crowded conditions start to get on their nerves. Endo notices that the fans are arguing over blocked views, making the situation awkward since no one is cheering for the idols anymore. Later, the idols check their phones and see a stream of impressive photos going viral. Rosashi's team wonders if their strong performance might secure them a spot in the preliminaries. The idols are worried, though, because they need 50,000 likes to qualify. Ritsuki looks at their trending post, which only has 12,000 likes, feeling both happy and a little disappointed. The rest of the group shares that frustration, realizing they'd hit a limit at 12,000 likes. Their manager tries to lift their spirits, reminding them that he set up today's stage specifically to go viral, and encourages them not to give up just yet, Suddenly, a voice calls out, "If you don't give up, there's always a chance for a comeback." It's Mugen Rider. Kami rushes over to ask for an autograph. As he's signing, he says he couldn't just stand by and listen to their conversation. He tells her they have fans rooting for them and that she shouldn't give up before her fans do. After that, he leaves, saying he said what he wanted to say. The manager then tells everyone to look outside. He points out that the fans believe they'll make it to QIF and are fighting for them without giving up. The usual fans have shown up with their cameras to support them, and they should keep doing what they always do for the fans who support them. He encourages them to show their usual smile. Feeling motivated by this, everyone cheers up and gets excited. Outside, fans are scrambling for the best photo angles. Some argue about getting a good shot, insisting their fave's charm can't be captured properly. Amid the chaos, they complain about tripods and focus issues. The show begins, and the scene shifts to Endo watching from a distance. He's frustrated, thinking about how everyone is so focused on getting the perfect shot that they've lost sight of the bigger picture. He wonders if he weren't in this sniper position, he wouldn't have noticed how they're missing Karen's natural smile. Endo pulls out his phone, thinking he needs to make them realize their mistake. He sends a text to Yoshida, who's too busy to notice it. Endo's frustration grows as he keeps sending texts. Yoshida, trying to take photos, gets annoyed by the constant messages and murmurs about the place heating up and not having time for excuses. Yoshida focuses on getting the next good shot. Endo's anger boils over, and he turns on a laser. The laser light hits Kami, making her shine. This surprises Yoshida, who wonders if Kumi just glowed. As he looks closer, he sees a message written with the laser light. Meanwhile, fans around Yoshida are still arguing over photos in space. The manager, peeking outside, is concerned about the terrible atmosphere and the surprise photo shoot. Suddenly, Endo is shocked to see Yoshida screaming in the crowd. Yoshida moves around, still shouting, surprising the other fans. His chant is one of those popular ones used at idol events, where the energy and hype matter more than the actual meaning of the words. As Yoshida keeps screaming, everyone starts watching him. He then yells out about how cute Kumi is, and soon enough, other fans join in, chanting about their favorite idols. Yoshida doesn't stop, going all out with his passionate declarations. His screams are full of energy, expressing his love for Kumi in that over-the-top way fans do at these kinds of events. The crowd's getting swept up in it now, with fans of different idols chanting their praises. People sitting in a nearby restaurant even hear the noise, and it's not long before Sakura's fans start up, calling her the healing angel. Then Ritsuki's fans chime in, showing their love for the one they look up to. Korin's fans cheer next, calling her their brightest star. With the crowd in sync, the concert gets back on track, and everything starts flowing. Watching this, the manager feels a wave of relief. They had thought it was all over, but somehow everything's falling into place again. Despite the chaos, they manage to keep things going. On the other side, Endo watches and thinks that somehow they've managed to recover the atmosphere. The key moment is at the end of the song, but he worries this is still bad. He notices everyone cheering and chanting and silently cheers for Karen himself. Meanwhile, Marita glances outside and notes the drizzle, but the wind is picking up. The manager observes the team returning to their usual selves, knowing they must respond to the fans' enthusiasm with their best smiles, at least until the crucial moment. As the weather worsens, a waitress asks customers to move inside, noting the idols are having a tough time. Endo, meanwhile, is focused on taking pictures and counts down the 10 seconds until the big chorus of Kira Kira Rosase. Just as the countdown ends, the manager presses a button, but something breaks, and a signboard begins to fall. Karen spots it and screams that a girl is in danger. Concern ripples through the Rosase group as the manager looks on. The manager recalls this setup that cost 384,800 yen, meant to create a perfect viral moment. Yoshida's colleague calls it a long-awaited shutter moment. As Karen screams urge the girl to move, she panics while the signboard rushes toward her. Acting quickly, Endo pulls out his weapon, calculates the wind, and fires. His bullet hits the board, stopping it just before it hits the girl. Her mother rushes in to pull her away as security and Marita remove the sign. The girl is saved and the crowd cheers. The manager breathes a sigh of relief, smiling. Endo reflects that a true sniper becomes one with the field, reading the surroundings and predicting events. Though the wind continues to tug at the fence, his mission remains to capture a photo of Karen. He ponders whether the old him would have ignored the situation, but now wonders if Karen would prioritize the viral moment or saving the child. The answer is clear. With the show continuing, everyone is grateful nothing serious happened. A few days later, aboard a helicopter, a secretary hands the president a list of the top 24 idols from the preliminaries. The president, disappointed, doesn't recognize any names. The secretary mentions an incident at a live performance that's been trending online. The president reads about Karen's heroic shout that saved a child, with over 110,000 likes on a post capturing her genuine smile. Impressed by the attention and Karen's ambition, the president is pleased with the outcome. Meanwhile, a helicopter lands at the Fujiyama Group's mansion. Shinuzaki and his team greet the president and perform a thorough security check, which frustrates the president, especially when Shimi is awkwardly searched. Despite the inconvenience, Shimi remains unfazed. Once cleared, they proceed inside. In the meeting room, the group is warmly welcomed. The president reflects on the situation, feeling that landing a helicopter in the garden was excessive and wishing they had been more discreet. Conscious of his public image, he feels the need to be cautious. Elsewhere, the Rosachet girls chat about the recent incident, reviewing their routines and energized for what's next.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love. Here I stand, I know I walked away.